Rocky, the Liberty Bell, Hitchbot's final resting place. The city of Philadelphia is famous for a lot of things. Among these is the Philly cheesesteak. Steak wasn't enough and neither was a cheese sandwich. So Philadelphia did what it does best and classed it up by slamming the two together, forever changing the landscape of cholesterol as we know it. But a lot has changed since the invention of the cheesesteak. California is shoving French fries in their burritos, and Red Robin is putting onion rings on their burgers. The cheesesteak keeps moving further and further down the food pyramid, and the city of the brotherly shove couldn't have that, so they did the unspeakable and created a calorie WMD, a mother of all gutbusters, the Philly taco, which is a Philly cheesesteak wrapped in pizza. The genius is in its subtlety, and today we're gonna make one. Okay, the trick here is making a pizza big enough for the cheesesteak to wrap itself in, like James Brown's cape after a performance. Lucky for Philadelphia, their neighbors up north are good for more than just siphoning gas from. The base of this is clearly a New York cheese pizza. So that's what we're gonna make with this ball of dough right here. Now make sure it's nice and big. Just stretch it out and slather it in pizza sauce. You can get the recipe for this in my pizza sauce video. If you just have nothing to do but YouTube all day, then we'll sprinkle on some mozzarella cheese. Just what a cheesesteak needs. More cheese. Okay, let's throw this into the oven and get working on our sandwich. It's been said that cheesesteaks are made with ribeye steak because of ribeye's fancy marbling of fat. I don't know how anybody could tell what type of steak it is under all that cheese. Honestly, it could probably be sirloin. It's also been said that the steak should be frozen so you can shave it paper thin. Freezing it helps to shave it thinner, I guess? Okay, that's an awfully convenient way to justify frozen ingredients. But nevertheless, we do need super thin meat. Steak so thin you could pass it off as counterfeit bills when it goes rotten. So naturally, I'm gonna use this deli slicer I have laying around. Let's shave this ribeye. I don't know if this is approved for household use. This is like using a forklift to make your bed. If OSHA walked in right now, they'd have a conniption. This is like that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer gets the slicer. He's more qualified than I am. Look at this. Gabagool? Anyone? By the way, I tried frozen ribeye. Didn't work. Nearly busted the slicer. Okay? That's enough of that. While we're at it, we'll slice some onions too. Raw meat was just used in this thing, why not raw onions too? Who needs a mandolin when you got this? Okay, now that we made it through that with all 10 of our fingers, we're gonna crank a griddle up to high and throw on our meat. We don't want anything to stick, so we're just gonna slather it with some cooking oil. Just super soaker the thing. At this point, we'll season our steak with salt and pepper and chop it up some more. Now we'll add our onions right over here. You gotta keep them separated like the Jets and the Sharks till the final number, at which point we'll mix them together and then add some American cheese. Some people say, no, you gotta use provolone and peppers. Easy, fancy feast. Why not break out the fine china too? One thing that is necessary for a good cheesesteak is a good hoagie roll. Legend has it that the best rolls are from a company called Amoroso. This is a Philadelphia-based company that's been baking bread since the early 1900s. They became popular when legendary cheesesteakeries like Pat's and Gino's started using them. And apparently, they're the only way to go. You can't find these at a grocery store, and the restaurant warehouse by me was selling a box for 50 bucks. How's that wholesale? So I just went to the nearest cheesesteak place and bought a roll off them. Got some weird looks there. To be honest, I should have just bought a whole cheesesteak. Skipped ahead like a Mario whistle. But the whole point is that you want a hearth-baked roll. So thick and so chewy, it could withstand a sandwich made out of pure grease. And this is not far off from that. Here it is, our Philly cheesesteak. But it wouldn't be complete without a drizzle of cheese whiz. Apparently. Another piece of Philly propaganda, the Whiz Wit style means you order it with cheese whiz and onions on top. Convenient that you should top ribeye with the most industrial of cheeses. As far as I can tell, this might actually be a gimmick. Cheese whiz wasn't even invented until far after the cheesesteak. But, like American cheese on a burger, something about it just tastes right. Okay? Doesn't that look healthy? A sub to die for. Speaking of which, when I was in college, yes, I went to college, there was a deal on campus that if you signed up for a credit card, you'd get a free sandwich. So I gave away all my personal info for a free sub. Before I knew it, my poor Hotmail inbox was the Studio 54 for spam. I gotta tell you, the sub was not worth it. Which brings me to today's sponsor, Incogni. Whether you sign up for a free sub or not, nowadays, there's organizations constantly trying to get your personal data. Or worse, hackers and henchmen trying to steal your identity, commit fraud, or fill your inbox with spam. Who knows what lies beneath that mountain of spam in your inbox? Grandma's been sending you e-cards for months. But Incogni helps put a stop to all that nonsense. They request the removal of your personal information from data brokers and monitor your data to make sure it doesn't reappear. Scrubbing your data from these sites is one thing, but keeping it off is another. And that's what Incogni does, making sure your info isn't passed around like a frisbee at the beach. Use code Trevor for 60% off your annual plan. Okay, back to the food. Here's our pizza. The real question here is how we wrap the cheesesteak in the pizza. We could just fold it all together like a Chipotle burrito, then gnaw at it like a rat. I've seen some people online wrap a slice around the sandwich, like a boa constrictor. As for me, I think I'm just gonna make one big slice of pizza and fold it around the sandwich. It is a taco after all. You know, this really stretches the meaning of the word taco. Under this definition, what isn't a taco? Baseball in a catcher's mitt? That's the Major League taco. Baby in a bassinet? No, that's a neonatal taco. Okay, look at this. The real marvel in this is not how it's made, it's how it's consumed. An anaconda would struggle with this. Okay. My God. This is a sin against nature. Well, it's double the cheese and double the bread and quadruple the heartburn. If Philadelphians keep eating this, they're gonna have to turn the rocky stairs into a ramp. I've seen some decadent things before. People are starting to shove Costco hot dogs in their chicken bakes. I hate to say it, but that makes more sense than this. But I am proud of the cheesesteak we made. Taken by itself, I think we did a pretty good job, and it's about as authentic as we're gonna get. So, pizza by itself, incredible. Cheesesteak by itself, revolutionary. Leave it to Philadelphians to not know when is when and play God by crossbreeding the two. But two good halves of a bad whole still isn't that bad. So, I give the Philly taco a 7 out of 10.